the bell above the door, the smell, newsprint and sugar, and something else you could never quite name. Glass jars along the counter, each one a different color inside. You pressed your face to the glass, pointed, and the man behind the counter counted them into a small white paper bag. You had sixpence, or a shilling. On a good week, a little more. And for that, you could have quite a lot. We're going through 12 penny sweets, what they were, exactly what they cost, and what happened to every one of them, because the prices are the story. A sweet that cost a penny in 1965 cost 5 pence by 1982. Same sweet, very different world. Number 12, divided opinion the moment it touched your tongue. Number 2, changed what a sweet was capable of. And number 1 was always the first thing you pointed at. Let's go. Number 12, Parma violets. Small, flat, round, a very specific shade of purple, sold in a paper roll of around 8. The smell reached you before the packet was even open, floral, sweet, with an edge that some children found sophisticated and others found deeply strange for something intended to be eaten. Swissels have been making them since the late 1940s, 1 penny per roll, 8 sweets inside. The flavor is violet extract, the same compound that goes into perfume. Whether that makes them more or less appealing is something each person has to decide for themselves. Parma violets divided the corner shop queue straight down the middle. Some children spent their penny specifically on these. Others would not have accepted them for free. No other sweet on this list achieved that level of disagreement. They still exist. The formula hasn't changed. Neither has the argument. Number 11. Aniseed balls. Hard, round, deep reddish brown, about the size of a marble. You sucked them slowly and eventually reached a tiny aniseed seed in the center. 4 for a penny in the early 1970s, sometimes 6 depending on the shop. The aniseed flavor was strong and specific, and for anyone who had acquired the taste, nothing else came close in terms of value. A single aniseed ball, if you were disciplined about it, could last 40 minutes. They sat in large glass jars on the counter alongside pear drops and rhubarb and custard, all in that slightly dusty amber color that marks a boiled sweet from a particular era. They are still available. The jars are largely gone. Number 10. Licorice wheels. A flat coil of black licorice, wound tightly with a small pink or orange sweet pressed into the center. You unrolled them. That was the activity. Not eating. Unrolling first, then eating. A child who bit straight into a licorice wheel without unrolling was considered to be missing the entire point. Sold as Catherine Wheels by Barrett's, the company founded in 1888 that also made most of the other things on this list, at 1 penny each in the early 1970s, sometimes 2 for a penny. The chorus itself was cheap, grown in the Mediterranean, imported and processed into long strips, then wound. Simple manufacturing, very low cost, hence the price. The ritual of unrolling is what people remember. Once it was fully unrolled, there was a small moment of regret that it was over before the eating had even begun. Number 9. Pear drops. Hard-boiled sweets, pear-shaped, in 2 colors, yellow and pink, with a sharp artificial pear flavor and a faint fizz on the tongue as the outer layer dissolved. The smell was the defining thing. You could smell pear drops while the jar lid was still on. The compound responsible was amyl acetate, the same chemical that gives overripe bananas their smell, concentrated here into something sharper, which explains both the intensity and the slight light-headed quality of eating too many too quickly. 4 for a penny in the mid-1970s. Still made, still the same flavor. The bags are considerably larger now and cost considerably more than a penny. The smell, when you open one, is completely unchanged. Coming up, a sweet that children were not supposed to want and wanted immediately. If you haven't subscribed yet, take a second and do it now. New film every week. Number 8. Sweet cigarettes. White candy sticks in paper packaging designed to look like a cigarette packet. A small red tip on one end to suggest it was lit. Sometimes a card inside, a footballer, a racing driver, a film star. They were sold as sweet cigarettes until the 1980s, when pressure from health organizations led manufacturers to rename them candy sticks and remove the red tip. The packaging changed. The word cigarette disappeared. The card inside, if there was one, became something less specifically adult. The sweet itself was chalky, mildly sweet. The product was the imitation. Children held them between two fingers and put them to their lips. In cold weather, they blew out to create visible breath. Practicing something. Nobody decided this was appropriate for children to practice. Then somebody did. Candy sticks still exist. The red tip is gone. The footballer cards are gone. Most of the original intention is gone with them. Number 7. White mice and foam shrimps. 2 sweets. Same material. Completely different shapes. Sold at 4 for a penny, often together, often from the same jar. White mice were small foam sweets shaped without any subtlety, like mice, slightly chewy, vanilla-scented, pale white. Foam shrimps were the same mixture formed into the shape of a prawn, pink on the outside, pale inside. Both made from aerated gelatin and sugar, a manufacturing process developed in the 1950s that created something neither hard nor soft, in the usual sense, slightly resistant, then yielding. The specific texture of a foam sweet is extremely hard to describe to someone who hasn't experienced one. It is very easy to describe to someone who has. They know immediately. Both still exist. The recipe has changed. The texture is different, more uniform, less yielding. It is approximately the same product. Number 4 could last a child an entire school afternoon. 1 penny, several hours. The economics still don't fully make sense. Number 6. Flying saucers. Flat, oval, pastel-colored, pink, yellow, green, white. Made of rice paper. Inside, sherbet. You put the whole thing in your mouth. The rice paper dissolved, not instantly, but close, and released the sherbet. The sensation was the entire point. The brief resistance of the paper, then the fizz of the sherbet all at once. Total duration in the mouth, approximately 8 seconds. 2 for a penny in the early 1970s, 3 for a penny in generous shops. The rice paper was the same edible paper used in cake decorations and baking, tasteless, dissolving, serving no flavor purpose whatsoever. That was the entire design. Flying saucers are still sold. The formula has not substantially changed in 60 years. Number 5. Cola cubes, hard-boiled sweets. Cube-shaped, cola-flavored, very sticky, a slight fizz. Bright brown, almost orange in good light. Cubes had been in the jars since the 1950s. There from before most of the children buying them were born. The flavor wasn't cola exactly. It was a concentrated, slightly synthetic version, what cola smells like, rather than what it fully tastes like. The distinction was not considered a problem. It was simply the flavor everyone knew, and had always known. 4 for a penny in the mid-1970s. Always in the jar next to the pear drops and the aniseed balls. The jar itself, if the shop had been open a while, was slightly sticky on the outside. This was considered normal. Numbers 1 and 2 between them sold more packets in the 1970s than almost anything else in British confectionery. They were made by the same company. They cost the same. They could not have been more different. Number 4. Gobstoppers. Round. Hard as a stone. The size of a large marble, designed to be too large to bite, which meant you could only suck them. Depending on the size, they lasted between 30 minutes and 3 hours. The name was accurate. A gobstopper in your mouth made talking difficult. For certain situations, this was a feature. Inside a gobstopper were layers, different colors and different flavors as you worked through. The outer layer dissolved to reveal another color, another taste, then another. The engineering was straightforward. Patience was rewarded with variety. Price in 1972, 1 penny. For 1 penny, you had something to do for the rest of the afternoon. If this is taking you back to that counter, hit the like 2 seconds, and it puts this film in front of someone else who'd want to see it. Number 3. Sherbet fountain. A yellow card tube. A licorice straw inserted into loose white sherbet. You sucked through the straw. The sherbet traveled up, hit your tongue, fizzed. Made by Barrett's from 1925. 3 pence pre-decimal. 3 old pennies, or about 1 1/4 new pence. By 1975, it was 2 pence. By the mid-1980s, 5 pence. The price more than quadrupled in a decade, which was significant when your total budget for the week was 10 pence. The ritual had 2 stages. The straw first, until the straw became blocked with wet sherbet, which always happened. Always at the same point. The yellow cardboard emerged damp and slightly collapsed. The experience was complete. Not subscribed yet? This is a good point to do it. New film every week. And the next one will take you straight back. Number 2. Space dust. A small foil packet. Inside, granules that look like very fine pink or purple sugar. You poured them onto your tongue. They crackled. Not as a metaphor. They produced actual crackling sounds and the go-to fizzing sensation against the roof of your mouth. The sensation was the product. The flavor was secondary. Space dust launched in Britain in 1976 and created an immediate problem. Parents were concerned. Letters arrived at General Foods. The specific worry was that the crackling might somehow be dangerous, that children might swallow the gas and be harmed. The company issued statements. Doctors confirmed it was safe. The letters continued anyway. It was withdrawn briefly in the early 1980s, not because of safety, but because of distribution problems. When it returned, it was called popping candy. The formula was identical. The panic did not return with it. Number 1. Blackjacks and fruit salads. 2 sweets. Always together. 4 for a penny. Blackjack, black squares, licorice and aniseed flavored, individually wrapped in wax paper. They turned your tongue black. This was not an unfortunate side effect. This was specifically the point. Fruit salads, same manufacturer, Barrett's, but pink and yellow, fruit-flavored, softer. Where the blackjack was dark and sharp, the fruit salad was bright and yielding. Adjacent jars on the counter, always priced as a pair. 4 for a penny in 1970, 2 for a penny by 1978, 1 for a penny by the mid-1980s. They still exist. 12 sweets, 12 paper bags, 12 counters with glass jars that smelled of sugar and thyme. What was yours? And is there one missing from this list that belongs on it? Drop it in the comments below. We read every single one. Subscribe and hit the bell for the next film. It's right there.